Good morning, good morning. This is John Dingfelder. You're listening to WMNF, and our show is called Down and Dirty. We're here every Friday, typically at 10 in the morning to bring
unless we're late.
To bring you unless we're late. And that voice you heard, the melodic voice of my co-host, Lynn Marvin Dingfelder, who is definitely a morning person. Good morning.
Not at all. Your co-host for life.
Co-host for life. That's
there you
good.
Go.
That's good. We've got Skip on the board. Good morning, Skip. Good morning. Anthony answering the phones. We will take your calls probably in about 20 or 30 minutes or so. We will let you light it up. So, the other day, we heard our illustrious president give his version of the State of the Union. So I thought we would have a counterpoint and give our version of the State of the Union. We've got some fine guests here today. Our good friend and attorney, Chris Griffin. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Good to see you.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Chris is just kind of semi-retired from practicing law, and he's now a full-time mediator to help other lawyers get through their issues.
And help people not go to court rather than go into court. That's right.
I'm sure you're a great mediator following in the footsteps of your fine father, Judge Griffin.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And we have Sadie, who will otherwise be anonymous, but Sadie has joined us a couple of times previously. She is an organizer and an activist. And good morning, Sadie.
Good morning, John, Lynn. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We're thrilled to have you. So, honey, how did you enjoy the president's State of the Union the other night?
We need to be honest, don't we? You made us turn it off about 3/4 of the way through.
I know. I couldn't believe you wanted to even watch it at all.
I think it's important to know where the crazy comes from and how to respond if possible. And you need to know how or why other people think that way. So I think information is a powerful thing. Now, is it upsetting? Did I want to cry a couple of times? Yeah. But it's just an amazing bigger picture of where we are as a society to be able to accept this kind of stuff. You know, years ago, things of a lot lesser issues would kick people out of office. I mean, we talked about the Gary Hart boat. Remember what was that?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, monkey business.
Monkey business.
How did I remember that?
Senator Hart, for those younger crowd who is listening, Senator Hart was running for president. He was in the primary. He got caught with a photograph of a scantily clad woman on a boat in Miami.
His boat, and that was the name of his boat. And he dropped out for that,
career, yeah.
You know. And I'm thinking, you know, Watergate looks like nothing
Watergate.
Now, right?
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Like shoplifting from a convenience store compared to what we're doing now.
It's just amazing. But there's something that I'm hoping we can talk about it a little bit later, that it's just almost a societal acceptance. I don't want to say dumbing down, but a numbing of society.
How about all the actual State of the Union and the antagonism that the president was bringing to that process? I mean,
rude and mean-spirited.
We've you know, at least the three of us elders and Skip, we've watched the State of the Union for decades. Republicans, Democratic presidents, and
when do you stand there and tell the Supreme Court that they did wrong? I mean, on national television, I watched their faces. A couple looked like they wanted to puke. A couple were just frozen and trying to not grimace. But I've never seen that, or to say to elected officials, what do you say? You're stupid.
You're crazy. These people over here are crazy.
Just
yeah.
And then it invites some response from the Democrats who scream back at the president.
Well, the frustration.
And we don't want that either.
No.
I mean, you know.
Well, before we came on, I was mentioning, on a personal note, I've got 3 grandsons, 11, 8, and 6. And I know that I grew up watching elected officials on every level, local, state, national, and you learn normative behavior from watching and listening as you grow up. Mm-hmm. And young people today, including my 3 grandsons, are being shown and taught exactly how not to communicate in the way we were raised and the way we conduct ourselves now. And that is a very serious matter, I think, about the generations that will follow. I sound like the old man who's telling the kids, you kids get off my lawn.
I say that now. I open my mouth and my grandfather comes out. I hear my words. I'm like, did I really say that?
But it's something to be concerned about, and it's something that all of us who parent and grandparent need to keep in mind as this tends to get worse over time.
Well, and it impacts in-person events, right? So I was at an event a few weeks ago, and there were some signs, as you've probably seen if you've driven around during protests. There were some signs that were pretty intense, right?
Vulgar?
And I had
Vulgar?
very, very vulgar.
Okay.
And frankly, some of them didn't go in the newspaper because they can't put that in the newspaper,
Wow.
which is a shame because it's important to capture what's happening around here, right? But somebody came up and said to me, well, this really isn't my speed. I'm not the person to be calling names or vulgar or whatever. And I said, I totally get that. I totally get that. But, however, first of all, it's becoming the norm, number one. Number two, there's some level of poking at people to really make them think. Now, again, we have to be careful because if all we're doing is offending, they shut down and they don't listen to what we have to say. And that doesn't help the situation, right? And honestly, we all need to be listening to each other a whole lot more. But it's an interesting juxtaposition because you've got, I literally get women knitting, the grandmother's knitting next to the signs with, lots of vulgar
What a great
things on
picture.
them. And it's a shocking juxtaposition really to watch and see those different groups coming together.
I don't even appreciate it. I love Jon Stewart, but I don't appreciate it when he cusses, on the air. And I understand he's frustrated. We're all frustrated. But I don't think we should bring ourselves to that level, Chris.
That's the point. I think we have to resist it because responding in kind is not going to raise the quality of the discourse. It's going to lower it.
Absolutely.
And it's a trap that's one can fall into very easily.
It's getting into the sandbox
Getting into the mud.
I hate to say it, it really seems like it started with the Jerry Springer.
Well, I was going to
stuff.
blame media. I think that there's been the tabloid and the what's the DJ's name?
Bubba the Love Sponge?
Yeah, and they just poke and they get vulgar or they, it's funny and it's new. Ooh, you heard
And then
they said?
Trump probably did it. I didn't watch The Apprentice, but I'm sure he sort of behaved that way in terms of being rude and mean.
Oh, that was the hallmark of his persona on that show, which of course culminated in each. I can't believe I'm admitting implicitly that I watched
So
it.
you heard.
Yeah, so I heard as reported to me. But it always was you're fired, and that's just so mean and nasty.
Now it's you're deported.
Oh,
Well,
geez.
and that's
Or
probably
detained.
what led us here, right? Is that he got positive reinforcement, unfortunately, from behaving in ways that were really above and beyond and treating people like they were disposable.
Right.
So
That's a good
did
word.
that only reinforce the...
It's kind of a
behavior?
daddy thing. It's like people somehow feel that he's going to fix or do instead of, I think in other presidencies, there was a unification of together, we can all fill in the blank. We can fix this, we can do that, we can healthcare, whatever it might be. But now it seems like people want hands off and they just want someone else to do it. And because he's big and blustery and talks a lot of hooey, that people just say, oh, he'll do it. He'll fix
Well,
it.
you remember one of his lines during the campaign was, this fill in the blank is what needs to be done, and I'm the only person who can do it. He literally would say that about whatever subject was at hand, and that's a hallmark of totalitarianism, which is I'm going to sit back and live my life and not worry about the things that might otherwise worry me because that person is going to take care of it.
And the other side of this, and tell me if you see this to be true, Sadie, that I find that there's a part of society, and I might buy into this a little bit, who's just so frustrated and feels not helpless, but just so upset that I have to step back. It's not let him do it. It's like, oh no, not again. And in order to protect your sanity, your health, whatever, you have to back off, maybe not watch the news or not read it just for mental health. Are you seeing that? I can understand my generation that's been through a lot of this, but what about the younger generation? Are you seeing any tune out?
Absolutely. And by the way, there's some level of that that's absolutely healthy and protective, and I certainly do it, right?
Do you?
I have
good.
to turn off some notifications and periods. But here's the thing. If you're angry and wound up and you're talking about it, it's not impacting you, right? Just because you're not taking action. And in fact, I would argue, because I have these conversations a lot, people who are really, really riled up about the way things are going, And I go, great, what are you doing about it? Because one of the most frustrating things on the planet is to be really pissed and not have an avenue or feel like you can have any impact. So the number of people that I talk to that are like, well, yeah, I mean, I voted, but does that really matter? And I'm like, oh, that's such a frustrating place to live. Like, let's time, hopefully we'll have a minute to talk to some of the things that you can do that feel like you're productive, and also, by the way, building community with other people who feel the same way that you do, which is also a mental health builder.
I think it's a wonderful transition. We originally met you through No Kings, and that is one of the things we can do. Is it effective? What's it do, and what is the date of the next one?
Absolutely. So it's a great question. I want to touch on the is it effective thing. So next No Kings is March 28th. Let's try that again. And there are events already.
Is that a Saturday?
Here. It is a Saturday. There are already events here in Tampa, in Brandon, in Pinellas. They're already popping up. NoKings.org if you haven't gone and looked.
And people can create their own event, right?
They can, absolutely.
If your little town out in Polk County does not have an event, go to NoKings.org and create your own event. And next thing you know, there are going to be 50 people with you.
Join up with your people. And in fact, like Pasco, I believe, is doing 3 events this round. Again, we've got one out in Brandon and Tampa here in Hillsborough, so lots of options. But what I was going to say is showing up to an event and waving a vulgar or not vulgar sign, depending on how you prefer to do it, isn't enough, right? And so think of that event as a big marketing effort to say, hey, there's a community here. There are more people who care about this thing. And let's leverage it into really direct local action. And by that, I mean
Local officials electing good people?
Could be that one. Yes, absolutely. But waiting for an election. And by the way, we've got 2 special elections coming up here locally, right? Plant City and here in Tampa, District 14. So if you're not paying attention to that, please do if it impacts you. But also more direct action like, hey, can we convince our local school board to do something different with regards to book bannings? Because if you're not getting involved with that, you should. Should we be talking to the Board of County Commissioners about different activities, right? There are 287G agreements in every county in Florida, but some counties are starting to change that, and that's a really big deal.
What are those?
The 287G agreement is the agreement that our local police or sheriffs are involved with ICE and basically deputized for ICE, right? And so they're getting funded here locally. We're getting a ton of funding.
Mayor Castor, by the way, entered into the 287G agreement without city council. She just entered into it on the side. And I'm really not sure the legality of that, but she did it.
I would imagine it's legal, just off the top of my head.
But that's one of those things we should all be making on a very hyper-local level. We should be making our thoughts known really, really strongly because, by the way, in Orlando, they decided not to escalate some of their 287G agreements because the community outcry and there was so much presence. And that's a big deal, right? There's a lot that we can do locally. So come to No Kings, find out who else is doing the work, look at Tampa Immigrants' Rights Committee and other things where places that you can plug in. And do something more direct that feels really tactful or really tactical, because it'll make you feel so much better about being angry and not doing anything. And, you know,
and as Michelle Obama said, let them go low and we'll go high, right? We'll take the high road. I mean, in terms of your point, Chris.
Yeah. And let me make a point about that. I really love what you're saying. I have a tendency to get angry, if you will, on social media, and I've dialed it down a little bit. And friends will say to me, you need to calm down, you need to back off for your own mental health. And here's the key, you're never going to change anyone's mind, they tell me. Well, maybe not, but the way I look at things, and this is to your point, those of us who see the world in the way that we do need to let others know you're not alone.
Right. I like that.
The folks in Minneapolis are the exhibit A of that. They have inspired us to a level that I think only what happened in those streets and how they organized peacefully, and we know what happened in response to that. But again, all of us need to do everything we can to let those who are, quote, with us, close quote, you're not alone.
You know, the point you make is great. I remember after the first Trump election, and I was in shock. I was devastated. I think it was like a couple of weeks of crying and stuff. And then there was the Women's March, and we went in St. Pete.
St. Petersburg, yeah.
And it's a weird thing to say to you, but it made me feel better.
Yeah.
I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. And there were all these people saying, yeah, okay, we're in this together and we'll figure it out.
That
and
one made me feel 1,000% better. I agree completely.
Yeah.
So maybe No Kings can have that same side effect as
It
well.
absolutely has that impact, and that has value in and of itself, just building that community. But by the way, having those hard conversations, assuming that you're someone who can kind of keep it together long enough to do so.
Chris,
and not
she's talking to you.
Screaming and cussing at each other in the supermarket is not going to get us anywhere. But I've been amazed that there were several people in my personal network, one of whom, frankly, called me like in August or September and literally was like, I just threw away all my MAGA stuff. And I was like, holy cow, are you kidding? Like, things that I've been saying over time, slowly and planting seeds, actually accomplished something.
Johnny this morning, were you just going to say that?
Yeah.
Johnny this morning showed me a clip from Saturday Night Live where the mother is confessing to the kids that she may have made a mistake.
Oh,
you
that
know,
was such
it's
a
such
good
a good
skit.
clip. If you guys haven't seen it,
If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it.
it's really hysterical.
Yeah, she goes, and I don't want to hear one of you say, I told you so.
Well,
And they're sitting there chomping. It's just so well done. It's so real.
All right, we've got some calls in terms of community, so let's hear what folks have to say. I've got David in Tampa who might be agreeing with us.
Yes, hi. Good to hear from you guys.
Hey, David.
David Bryant from Seminole Heights.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Go Seminole Heights.
Yeah. I've talked about this a lot with folks, but I just think about Trump as just a terrible role model for our children. You know, he is supposed to be the president of the United States, and he just embarrasses us on a daily basis. And I just worry about our kids thinking his behavior is acceptable because he is the president, you know, and his, you know, parents of MAGA folks, you know, promoting his behavior as acceptable or whatever. You know what I mean?
I used to make my children watch the State of the Union so they'd be informed. Now I don't know what I would do.
Well, you could watch it with them and tell them that's not the way to talk, but that's a whole other approach.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. And we've got Gary in Clearwater who is commenting, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah, this is Gary in Clearwater. I just want to say one quick thing. Karl Rove, who I think y'all might know who he is, said that is the worst speech that he had ever heard a Republican make, that it was biased, that it was separating, that it was absolutely deplorable.
Separating.
Karl Rove.
You got a guy like Karl Rove that'll stand up next to WMNF and say, you know what, I agree with what you guys are saying. Somebody's on the right page. That.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Talk to you later. So,
May I make a further comment
do.
on that? We've been talking about style or lack thereof. And I've got 2 pages of notes that I took during the State of the Union address.
typed in single space.
Double space, but, you know, in some places, and highlighted. But anyway, that's a trial lawyer's notebook. We've focused on style, and that obviously has a major part in all of this. But the substance of what he said, let's call them what they are, the lies about, and a couple of them stuck out to me, about the way he represented what Trump RX has done to drug prices. It's impacted, I think, 40 different classes of drugs, and of course there's tens of thousands of classes.
Lowered by 600%.
I was going to say,
What is 600%?
The math is a little strange.
but think about that.
they give you money if you buy their prescription.
The person who can actually say over and over and over again that I have reduced prices 200, 300, 400, which of course is a mathematical impossibility. But one, do you think anyone will say to him, Mr. President, that's impossible? You need to stop saying that. Well, we know him. If you say to him, you need to stop saying
He'll
that,
say it more.
he will say it more.
Chris, the
And-
problem is you know that expression, the emperor is not wearing any clothes.
Right.
But none of us want to visualize that.
That's a fair point.
I mean, would you waste your breath saying it to him anyway, knowing that it's not going to have any impact?
Who knows? Well, seriously,
But who corrects the mob boss? Who corrects the mob boss? You know, or the whatever you want to call him, the authoritarian, the dictator, whatever. You know, who corrects him? And your point is exactly that, right?
Yeah. Well,
What is that? Fear, or is that I want to stay at the top, or what is it?
It's. Well, let me just say this.
Did you ever see it at a law firm?
I probably was it at the law firm, but that's another subject. But I have been in his presence, and he is a large man. And there's something to be said about that. There's an intimidation factor, the bluster, the raised voice.
I used to have all that.
Speaking about getting old, right? But that persona, that presence that he projects has a lot to do with the way he cows people and controls the room. But we also know that there were many, many people in his first administration who were not cowed, who behind the scenes, remember that open letter, "We are the resistance"?
But they're gone.
But they're gone.
They're gone. There are no safety bumpers anymore. No, the rails, whatever they call it, safety rails. You know, I just feel like everyone is a follower. Maybe to your point that they don't want to confront him, or that they like the Kool-Aid taste.
That's right.
You know,
But this time he started with the Stooges. Okay, the first.
No, we don't need to call them stooges, John. I mean,
I don't mean that in a negative way. No,
And
you
there's
watched
more
the
than
Three
three of them, right?
no, they are stooges. But my point is the first election, it seems like he put in more legitimate people, and then they didn't last. This time he didn't bother going through that effort. He just put the stooges in, like Pam Bondi.
Yep, and Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio
And what's the FBI guy? Bug Eye.
Oh,
Johnny.
I'm sorry.
Patel.
Cash Patel.
Cash Patel.
Yep, Johnny.
I'm sorry. Chrissy.
I mean, no, listen, we don't need to do
I know,
that.
I
We
know.
don't need to be children and poke at people's appearance or.
Jimmy Kimmel did it, so it was okay with me.
but that
No, I
doesn't
love
lead to
you, but you're not Jimmy
productive
Kimmel.
Well, let me make another point, and just shut me up if I'm interrupting too much. But the flip side of the coin, we talk about letting those of us who like to think that we're right thinking, correct thinking, that we can show each other that we're not alone. But there's a place for a discussion of sorts when we confront persons who are of different minds. And if that discussion can be calm, it can be, because...
You use the word confront, and that's part of why I'm smirking.
Well,
at
that's a
you.
good point. How do you calmly
Not
confront somebody?
So
But- Start a
next time we have this
conversation.
conversation, should I bring? I've got a couple of friends.
Yes,
Should I bring them in and
Yeah.
join this conversation?
That's
because
amazing.
it's
who they're on the other side.
Yeah,
Remember
we've had him.
the car dealer, our car dealer friend? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if you approach the conversation in sort of a welcoming way. Well, help me understand. Talk to me. Tell me why you think this about that. Calm, interactive. You will have some impact on, and let's not forget, that person might have some impact on our thinking.
Absolutely.
But again, your husband over here is breaking the rules.
Well, but they're going to think that we're morons too. I mean, let's face it.
But
They're
that's
probably
okay.
calling us names and
That's
They
okay.
absolutely are. But here's the thing. Number one, I often find that when I have those conversations, and by the way, not everybody can have them on our side or their side,
That's
right?
true.
Which is a shame that they're even our sides. But
right.
if you can have those conversations, it's often that we're looking at the same set of facts and coming to a different conclusion based on different experiences in our lives that lead us to those conclusions, right? But we kind of want the same things underneath.
Sure.
And so if we can focus on those things,
Yep.
Good
like
point.
what's upsetting you, but let's not talk about Trump or this policy or that policy or whatever the result is, but let's talk about the root of what you're angry about or upsets you. And we might find that we have a whole lot in common down there.
Sure. And again, going back to just the basic points of persuasion and conversation, if there's a weak point in your argument, admit it and accept it, admit it, move on. And all of this, the
Have
point
you
I'm
ever
trying to
done
make
that?
is, what's that?
Have you ever done that?
Have I ever done that?
Yeah.
Hell no.
But it sounds good, Chris. I like that.
Don't talk about those various marriages.
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
stop.
I'm so sorry.
That was low.
You are so inappropriate.
When I go
today.
low, I go lower.
Yeah.
Very-
I'm sorry, Chris.
Well, it
That's
is
all
down
right.
and dirty. Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
down and dirty. Speaking of which, this show is down and dirty. You're listening to WMNF, or you're listening to WMNF.org on the interweb. That's what the Canadians call it, by the way, the interweb. If you want to join the conversation, we're at 813-239-9663. And by the way, speaking of that phone number, last week was fundraising.
Yeah,
and
thank you, everybody.
We met our goal, and we appreciate that here at Down and Dirty. And I hope the station met its goal. I'm not sure.
We actually went over goal.
Yay.
Over the
That's
goal.
awesome.
Great.
I don't know how much. But
Yeah, Down and Dirty went a little bit over the goal, so now they're going to penalize us with a higher goal next time.
So I want to get back to our topic, which is,
The State of the Union.
my background is media and news, and of course I know things change and we have to accept that, but to me it's a very sad state of affairs that the media isn't what it used to be, and that we're seeing kind of a dwindling or a weakening of the reporting, and based on money and readership or whatever it might be. But who's fact checking and who's saying the emperor isn't wearing any clothes? Or just, if you say something, is it true? And I think part of what's going on is that either we're tuning out, some people are tuning out, or the facts aren't being presented, and we don't know. We don't know what to believe.
Right.
So he says it, he's president, it must be true. And so he says anything.
And then it depends on what station you flip your TV to, because we
sure.
still watch TV. And if you watch Fox, they say, oh, yeah, everything the president said is true or worse,
Well, it speaks
And then-
to Sadie's point, though, about the perspective you come from and what makes you drawn to a Fox versus another channel, and it must do something. And that speaks to our divide. Call me crazy, but it just seems like we are more divided now as a country than ever. Johnny, when we first got into politics and when we first met and everything, we had friends on both sides. We playfully got along. It wasn't
we
rude.
agreed
It wasn't.
to disagree.
Yes.
It wasn't.
Civilly.
It wasn't mean spirited, and it wasn't. I mean, today campaigning is like treacherous. What people can say, true or not, or what they can do, or the spin. And of course, I know social media has a lot to do with that. The instantaneous, knee-jerk emotional reaction versus when I was a reporter, you had to have 2 or 3 sources before you could put something on the air. Now, someone just sits at home, in their undies and writes something.
And as your
ugly.
lawyer back then, I
That's
insisted
right.
on the 2 or 3 sources.
That's right. That's how we met, Chris.
That's right.
That was great.
So, Walter Cronkite, as I recall, was on CBS, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And now look at CBS. They got taken over by some corporate, venture capitalist or whatever, who is censoring what goes on the air on CBS.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
used to be, to me, if you wanted
a
to
hallmark.
really know what the truth was, you go to CBS at 60 Minutes or Sunday Morning or whatever, but it's all on CBS.
Yep. And well, he was considered the nice uncle for the entire country, and then you had Huntley Brinkley. Trust.
Huntley
But
Brinkley.
let's pull back for just a second. The good news about the State of the Union address, in my view, was, and I think when we were chatting before, I used the term self-immolation. He is losing support, if not daily, hourly, if not hourly, daily. And when he doubles down like this, like he did, the people who he's losing more of them, and the ones who he's already lost are more firm in their rejection of him because they know they can't trust a thing that he says because everything is demonstrably false. And
Well, it's exaggerated. It's just so grandiose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like dropping prices by 600%.
Yeah.
But this used to be kind of a joke, right? Like I work for a long time in PR, and it used to be a joke, like, oh, it's a spin. But there's a point where that's valid, right? You can look at things from different perspectives. There are more positive or more negatives. We're way past the point of just, well, that's a positive perspective on that. We're out and right.
Well, and probably if you all have watched or listened to State of the Unions in the past, and Sadie, you know this to be true from a marketing or spin point of view, that you always have someone in the audience that you give some credit to and you tell their story. It's a personal story. And you say thank you to them, and they're the momentary hero.
Oh gosh!
But I was just so upset and almost cringing at some of the people he was pointing out, and people are applauding that someone's son died doing this. But Chris, to your
Here's
point,
the little girl, the only survivor in Texas.
But that's the point I want to make. And to Chris, is that you say you think maybe it's better that people will see through this. But I was looking at that little girl who was giving the president a thumbs up because he was acknowledging her. And I'm thinking that is the next generation of voter who is going to think that what Trump did is good or right. So the influence on the young ones is kind of scary to me.
Well, it can't be overstated. And again, as you see, I have my trial lawyer's notebook. One of the things that he this is a repetition of what he said many times, but specific words. Let's stop those crooked mail-in ballots. The only way Democrats can get elected is, quote, to cheat, close quote. And if young people, older people our age hear that enough, they are convinced that all mail-in ballots...
It becomes true.
It becomes true. And the core of our constitutional democracy is faith in elections. We know that. And he is destroying that faith for completely partisan purposes. But of all the things...
he says, oh, by the way, Congress, let's pass that new elections law that
Save America.
That would require passports or other forms, birth certificates, before you could vote.
Proof of citizenship. Yeah. Now, if somebody asks you on the street, prove to me that you're a United States citizen, what do you do?
I don't know where my birth certificate is, and our passport expired. So it's like
I know where your birth certificate is.
I'm sure you do. Chris, I interrupted you, but see,
that's all right.
We've only got like 20 minutes left, and I want to do something fun. So, because I was scribbling down quote issues from the year in review, so I want to do like a lightning round. Okay. So I'm gonna throw an issue.
Little buzzers or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw an issue out. And then let's talk about it for like 2 minutes, and then I'll go on to the next issue. Okay. All right. So fraud in America. Okay. Elon Musk was the first one to attack fraud in America with the now infamous Doge.
Yeah. What happened to that?
All right. But now the vice president gets to do it. Chris?
Well, the most startling part about that is he made the claim that the anti-fraud efforts now being overseen by J.D. Vance, when they reach their successful conclusion, we will have a balanced budget. He said that.
I know.
I heard,
$5 trillion now?
Saying things like, so waste and fraud are the canards that have been used for decades.
Sure, buzzwords,
that mean nothing. And then, of course, he pointed the finger at Somalians in Minnesota as if they are the cause of all of our ills. I'm serious.
And the reason to invade Minneapolis.
It is. So I've said enough about your lightning round. I'll shut up.
Lenny, got any more? No. How about the choice of Vance? Sometimes when you pick somebody to do that, you're setting them up for failure, Sadie?
Well, anytime you have, and Doge, of course, is a great example of this, but qualifications matter, right? For every other situation, even for anybody letting you on the radio. Well, they let me on the radio, so that's a bad example. But
they were both bad examples, actually.
In all of life, qualifications matter, right? So my question is, does he have any experience looking for fraud or abuse? And why would we believe that? Anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds good. And as you know, just the marketing campaign, he's all about marketing and pushing people's buttons. He knows that if we care about a balanced budget or things like that, he's going to say those words. Right. I'm going to balance it. And people will go, he's going to balance it.
It doesn't matter that the reality of how to balance it is completely unrealistic.
Right. And that, yes, nothing can get passed. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm stroking a check to the IRS for X thousands of dollars, and it's all going to Somalis and fraudulent Somalis in Minneapolis.
The only thing I want to say before you get on to the next lightning round is I think what Sadie said earlier is critical, and we can't be said enough. Elections matter. And if we're feeling powerless, the only thing we can do is vote, or work for someone you believe in, or run for office if you are the person who can help make change.
Or get involved in local issues.
That's the one I'm sorry, this is my own personal thing, but let's not wait for November to make things better, shall we? Like, that sounds horrible.
Well, you're right. I'm sorry.
Disempowering. So, yes, all of those things, everything you said, and there are probably school board meetings happening this week, right? We're in the middle of a legislative session here in Florida. We've got lots to do way before we get to November.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, lightning round. Tariffs, okay? Yeah. The president, like in his first week in office a year ago, started putting in all these tariffs. Basically, his own way of being a mob boss to control the world.
Threaten people.
Threaten this nation, threaten that nation, and many of them succumb to that threat. The Supreme Court, Chris, what did they do this past week?
Much was made of their ruling, especially by the president, who had names for them. And the problem there is that when the president personalizes a Supreme Court decision and points his own ugly finger at the justices for betraying the Constitution and betraying the American people,
including 2 or 3 that he had pointed to himself.
That's right. Yeah. But the decision itself was basic, elementary, fundamental statutory interpretation that we learn on the first day of law school in contracts class. And you have a statute, it has certain words in it, and all they did was decide that we don't see the word tax or imposed tariff in what the president is allowed to do under this emergency statute. It was really, in my view, not a close call. So I wasn't surprised by the decision.
So it's that simple, really.
It really is.
Basic.
It really is. And
when he previously he attacked district court judges. You talked about the importance of some of these district court decisions at the lowest possible federal court,
right? And
he attacked those district court judges. Now he's attacking the Supreme Court. What does that do to America's opinion of the justice system and judiciary?
If it hasn't been completely diminished by now, it diminishes it further.
So understand or see this strategy. He's diminishing the courts. He's diminishing journalism. He's diminishing our elected
half of
system.
Congress. Yeah.
So if he's saying that all these things are bad, he's at least planting a seed.
Yeah.
Of doubt in people's minds. Doubt, discouragement, something.
Don't you think that's the intentional strategy? It's a very well-known interpersonal strategy to go after someone's support systems, right? The things that they believe in.
I guess I never thought about that.
That's not uncommon for certain types of personalities. So that seems right in line with me. If you point to all of the things that someone else might have confidence in and undermine them, then you leave yourself as the only source.
That's right. That's well said.
So,
all right. Lightning question. International relations, Venezuela, Iran, Cuba, Canada, Newfoundland.
Cuba, poor Cuba,
but
jeez.
The president is the peacekeeper. We know that because he said
stopped
so.
all those wars.
Stopped 8 wars.
Is it 8 now? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On his very serious note, and very serious to many people in Tampa of Cuban descent, he is choking off that country and pretty much it will be starving.
It's heartbreaking.
They won't have electricity. They won't have running water. Sewer systems. I saw pictures. The garbage isn't even being picked up. That's going to be a humanitarian crisis. How many miles off of our southern border?
90 miles.
90. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening to an article as I walked my dog this morning about the Trump administration's approach to international relations is a return to empire building.
Like the Risk game. Remember we used to play Risk?
Yes, I do.
Game?
Barely, but I do remember. But if you all the points you just made, John, or Johnny, as the case may be, all the pressure points you mentioned, but step back and look at what this administration has done, which is attack, bomb, kidnap, shows of force. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. And it's enabling to him, it's enabling to his base, and there's no thread of consistent foreign policy, meaningful doctrine. There's just you hear what Stephen Miller said the day after the Maduro capture, that this is a world based on power, strength, military force, and that's the way he sees the world. If I have a stronger military, I deserve to control you. And that's what this administration
And how
is
about
doing.
the Epstein angle on all of this? I mean, Lynn, you said repeatedly that this is a cover-up for
Well, I've
all
always
of the
felt
stuff
it's a
that's in-
shell game. You know, he's doing something and making noise over here, so we're not looking over there. And I've always been wondering, is there even more than Epstein? I just think there's more. It's just trying to find it. But you know, I don't want to end this show, Johnny, with people just wanting to like jump off a roof or something. I think we need to really, Sadie, help us talk about the empowerment and the structure and what we can do. And it's not just the collective visual of showing up in the streets with creative signs. You know,
Absolutely.
I think you're right. We do need to reactivate or feel that we're not helpless and hopeless.
Right. Well, and I mean, so many of these things, can I go change, international political dynamics? Of course not, right? I don't have that power, but maybe I can do something with a local group who's already doing good in Cuba because there's immediate needs that need to be met.
Well, that's a
right?
good point.
Maybe I can do something with a local ice watch, and yes, they're forming here in Tampa Bay
Yes.
to try and help make things better for some people, right? Just incrementally better.
They're renting office space. It's kind of illegally. They're renting office space, and they're going to be not just traveling in, but here.
Yeah,
You know, and
absolutely.
what does
Who's
that do
they
to
in
elections?
that
ICE.
Senate? Oh, ICE.
And there are local
Nice.
hotels that have been asked for hotel blocks, right? There's a lot going on here locally, so absolutely something to pay attention to.
It's
But
very quiet. It's just frightening to me.
it is. And that's my point, is that there's all this room. Like when we start to look at the big picture, we go, oh, I can't help with
It's
that.
too big,
Right?
right.
I can't handle that. And I can't impact whether we go to war in this country or that country.
Something
or
about
whatever.
going back to bed with the pillow over my
Right,
head.
exactly. But that doesn't get us anywhere positive. And so actually out of this, if where we come out of this is more local connections, more local impact, super local, by the way, like maybe we're not, this is going to be a terrible example, I'm sorry, but maybe we're not donating to the, national orgs. Maybe we're donating to some of our really tactical local orgs who are, Immokalee here south, lots of immigration issues going on there, right? We've got lots going on in this Tampa Bay area to pay attention to and to donate and get involved, because they always need more resources and they always need more people who are willing to get off the couch.
And,
Right.
it's only a month away to March 28th for No Kings. And like I said earlier in the show, make a No Kings event in your neighborhood. Make a No Kings event on your subdivision. You can do it anywhere by going on nokings.org.
And I think Sadie made another very good point, that there may be people who are tired or can't get out for health reasons or physically you can't do a march, but maybe you have the discretionary funds to be able to help that group do something, get legal help or whatever it is that they need. So it doesn't always have to be the physical force. It can be just writing a check sounds old school, right? Swiping your
Clicking some
card.
Venmo.
Clicking a
It can be a
button.
whole
Yeah.
lot of things, right? It can be overpass signs that, by the way, we'll be doing on a regular basis here in Tampa. They're already doing in Pinellas all the time as we head into the March 28th event, right? So you can come out and hold a sign. It's not that complicated. We stand
Nice.
up on the overpass for 2 hours. Not a big deal. There's lots of things to get involved with. I want to point people to PinellasProtest.org, and they list all of the local elections, local events, blah,
Wonderful.
blah, blah. By the way, HillsboroProtest.org will be up here in the next little while as well. So you can email if you want information, info@HillsboroProtest.org. Same thing, get connected with the people who are already doing the work and figure out where you can plug in. I promise you it will make you feel better.
Wow. I just met you, and I wish there were 10,000 of you
Yes, Sadie, you're
scattered about. I'm
wonderful.
serious.
Yeah,
mean,
she's
you-
awesome.
You're
Yeah.
very, very good.
You give me hope, girl.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much.
So another issue that I wanted to talk about a little bit, which is so serious, is our threat to our First Amendment rights. And Chris, last time you were on the show, we talked about it. I'll just throw out some names: Jimmy Kimmel, Bad Bunny, honey, that you got.
I love Bad
your
Bunny.
favorite now. Washington D.C., Los Angeles, Minneapolis. You know, the Congress has responded finally by, at least temporarily halting funding to Homeland Security. A story I read was really alarming, extra alarming. Of course, these murders in Minneapolis are horrific, but in Minneapolis, somebody was following the ICE agents. Did you read that story? It was on a daily basis. He'd get in his car and he'd follow the ICE agents, and he'd get on his phone or his text or whatever and tell other people, here's where they are, here's where they're going. And he followed the ICE agents right to his own house.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, goodness.
Because they had got his license tag and figured out who he was and went to his own house as a means of intimidation.
Yep.
In other words, we know who you are, we know where you live. And to me, that chilling effect, it's sending a little goosebumps in my back right now, is horrific. It's a shame that there isn't some district judge out there, Chris, who could stop that sort of behavior, but I don't know.
Well, we already know that there are so many decisions from district courts around the country citing direct rejection of their own orders by ICE and the people who run ICE.
But they're not listening, are they? Are they ignoring?
No, and Eisenhower famously said when the Supreme Court made a ruling against one of his policies, well, I think I have an army that's larger than theirs.
Ooh.
That was Eisenhower. But to your point, John, it's not necessarily anything has to be carried through. It's the threat that silences people.
Sure.
If you know that these people have the ability to find out where you live and might come there, you're going to shut up. And that's, again...
If not for you, for the people you love around you.
That's right. You're going to... And when this whole thing started, I was concerned about putting anything on social media. No, seriously.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Well, I had a stiff drink. But to your point of organizing and doing all the positive things, you have to step back and say, look, if I'm silenced, who else is going to be silenced?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you know where there's safety? Where a whole bunch of us stand up.
That's right.
Right? Because they can't come and find, track down. We had 18,000 or so last No Kings here in Tampa.
Nice.
And that's just one event. There were 100 events around the state, right? They can't.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
I heard somewhere the 3.5% rule. Did you hear about this?
Absolutely.
The 3.5% rule. What did you hear, Sadie?
Yeah, so there's research.
I think Rachel said it.
There's been a few, but there's research that basically says when 3.5% of the population stands up and starts actually taking action, by the way, not just feels badly or gets angry on their couch, it starts to topple regimes.
3.5%.
Starts to create major change. That's not a huge number, right? So there are more than 3.5% that are showing up for these big events. There are not yet more than 3.5% that are actually taking direct, impactful action.
Okay, you guys, are you listening out there? We're talking to you. We're talking to you.
I'd like to know the empirical basis of the 3.5%.
Well, Rachel said it, so it's good with me.
There you go.
There actually is a book, and I will try and get it around.
I think she did reference
more research. Yeah,
she referenced that book. So, gang, normally we go till the top of the hour, but I did promise a friend in an organization that I would give a little plug to. It's a good organization. It's about conservation, land conservation, and the environment. And we have a caller who's calling us about that event and about that thing. So, Lynn Marvin, Sadie, Chris Griffin, I appreciate you. Skip and Anthony, I appreciate you guys. And if you don't mind, I know it's kind of a weird shift, and I apologize, but I'm going to take this call, and we will continue this conversation again very soon.
Good.
If you're not, if you haven't just tuning in, you're listening to Down and Dirty on WMNF.
And you're late. You're very late.
What?
They're late.
You're late. All right.
You're just tuning in.
All right. We've got Jennifer. Jennifer, are you there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I know that you agree with everything we've said for the last hour.
And if not, she won't tell you.
In regard to politics, no, I know Jennifer well. Jennifer is a longtime member of a group called the Tampa Bay Conservancy, and as a matter of disclosure, I'm on the board for the last year or so. And as a volunteer, and we are having an event coming up, and Jennifer is going to tell us about it.
Great.
And also tell us about Tampa Bay Conservancy.
Yeah, Tampa Bay Conservancy is a 25-year-old organization. We've been around the Tampa Bay area watching conservation or lack thereof for many years. And we're very proud. We're small. We're an all-volunteer organization. Our whole board is volunteer. But we put on an event every year. We call it our celebration, conservation celebration. And ours is coming up next Thursday, March 5th. And it takes place at the New World Tampa Music Hall. And they're located at 810 East Skagway, which I love that name. And we go on at 6:30. We're going to have music. We're going to have great New World food. And we also are having a speaker this year, Max Chesness from the Tampa Bay Times, their environmental reporter. He's going to come and speak.
And music by?
Music is by Liz Alden and a friend. She's a regular down there at New World. And
so they can see this invitation on our website or on your website, right? Where's that website?
Oh, the website is very easy. It's TampaBayConservancy.org. And the invitation is right there on the front page and has a click-through to our ticket area. So it's very easy to buy a ticket. The tickets are $50. We also have sponsors like we have Mosaic, we have Tico, we have several small businesses like Sunshine Law. And
what's the importance of Tampa Bay Conservancy?
Right.
What's our
goal?
overall goal?
What do you do with that
our
money?
Mission in life.
Tampa Bay Conservancy's mission in life is to help protect and save Tampa Bay area's natural lands, agricultural lands, and important historical lands.
So it's we're sort of a mini ELAP for those of you familiar with Hillsborough County's ELAP. You were involved in the Pasco version of ELAP. Of course, the state has a version as well. But if we don't preserve the little bit of wild lands that are remaining out there, all we'll have is pavement.
Is there anything left?
There's a little bit here and there, and that's what our goal is, to find it and preserve it. Right, Jen?
It is. And interesting you should say little bit, because we specialize in little bit. We're not on the level of an ELAMP or Florida Forever. We don't purchase land. It gets donated to us. Conservation easements get donated to us. But we do the little bits, the pieces that the larger programs just aren't just not interested.
Yeah, like 50 acres, 100 acres. So if you happen to own that and you want to preserve it, work with us. So that's TampaBayConservancy.org. Jen, we got to run. I appreciate all you do. And I appreciate you calling in. That event is next Thursday evening. Check it out, TampaBayConservancy.org. We are back to our regular show. Talk to you later, Jim.
Bye-bye.
All right, Chris in Clearwater, I know you've been holding. We'll have to catch you next week. And let's wrap up this show.
Thanks for calling, Chris. Sorry.
Sadie, you're going to come back and join us?
Absolutely. I would love to anytime.
Maybe right before the March 28th event.
That sounds like a fabulous idea. Again, March 28th, nokings.org. Please go look and look at citizensimpeachment.org as well for their event on March 9th.
Repeat those websites where people can find out events.
Yeah, so PinellasProtest.org lists events from Pasco and Hillsborough as well. Again, there's a group working on HillsboroughProtest.org as well to go find more information, and hopefully both of those will be up and running here soon. But Pinellas Protest has already been up, and you can sign up for them.
And I love what you were saying about, act local. Act local. Go to your school board, go to city council, go to county commission, raise the issues that you think are important.
Absolutely. And like I said, mental health, I get it when you need to check out. I check out all the time, but it's super useful.
All right. Chris Griffin, thanks for joining us. Sadie,
Always a
thanks
pleasure.
for joining us. Lynn,
Thank you.
Thanks for
Joining you? I'm going home with you.
coming up on 30th anniversry of
Oh, right.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Wedded Bliss. Is that what you said this morning?
No,
No,
I don't-
probably not.
I don't think so. Not before coffee, at least.
All right. Thanks again. This is
Thanks
John
for listening,
Dingfelder.
everyone.
Thank you both.
Take care.
WMNF Tampa.